I feel like you can do something that the larger kind of chaotic 7-person scenes can't do. And I just particularly love that with Tyler because I admire him so much and he's such a generous actor and person. So I'm all for it. I feel like the sky is the limit on this bromance.
We got to talk about episode 5. It was a big one for Jacob. He had his breakup with Zach. So I am interested if you saw this coming. Like, were you surprised when you found out that they weren't going to be together anymore?
I was. I feel like I don't have the right to say this anymore, that I'm continually surprised by what Quinta's got brewing. But yeah, I was surprised. That said, I was really excited as well. I think, if we're going to keep people interested in these characters, we got to kind of continue to throw their relationships into a wood chipper and turn, your expectations of them on their heads and stuff. So yeah, my first reaction was like, uh, honestly a little sad just because I love playing with Larry so much. And so I was kind of curious about if this would mean less of him. I think I can safely say that it's not the end of this character. But I was mostly excited as well about what that would mean, what a single Jacob would mean for our show, and what kind of opportunities that would afford us going forward.
Yeah, because he has been with Zach for a really long time and they were living together. I mean, this was a long-term relationship. So personally, would you like to see Jacob get out there, go on some more dates, or do you kind of want to see him maybe take a break from all that for a while?
I think any opportunity to sort of like squeeze this character and make him, squirm is interesting to me. And so I think, as we've seen in the first and second season, like Jacob is someone who really kind of gloms on to people. And we tried to highlight in episode 5 of this season how hard it is for him to end this relationship. And so I think there's something really rich about seeing Jacob flail and seeing, like I said, what a single Jacob might mean. And so yeah, I'm all for it.
Well, on that same note, like you just mentioned, the breakup did highlight that more passive side of Jacob and maybe for some really great comedic moments. Would you like to see him maybe get more comfortable with conflict and speaking his mind about things like this?
Yeah, look, I think Quinta has been really smart and all of our writers really about trying to portray these people as, fully fledged, three-dimensional, authentic human beings. And so obviously this is a component of Jacob that I feel like we get a lot of comedy out of, like how naive and afraid he is. But I think it only helps us if we show every color of a human being. And at the end of the day, we're trying to dupe you into feeling like this is a documentary and that this is really happening somewhere in the world. And so to kind of leave them in the space of, cartoon character or like classic trope sitcom, I feel like doesn't really help us. And so yeah, I feel like we definitely get to see Jacob win a bit more this year. He's not going to do a 180 overnight and become a different person. I feel like that isn't really true to what we're trying to do either. But yeah, as these relationships with the teachers, within the school kind of deepen and develop, I think it makes sense for me, at least, that Jacob would feel more confident. Again, he's not going to stop tripping over his words or, failing fabulously overnight. But yeah, I think it's interesting to kind of challenge people's preconceived notions about these characters a bit.
I love that it gives him that relatability because, again, a lot of us trip over our own words, and not all of us are great with conflict either. So that's just another aspect that I really enjoy about the Abbott characters. But kind of moving on to, of course, the Gregory and Jacob romance. It is hands down one of my favorite parts of the show. I know fans really enjoy it. Jacob has always kind of idolized him from the beginning. So where do you think that immediate love on his side came from?
I think it comes from, I think Jacob is sort of like an eager puppy dog and like a very, he's like begging somebody uh to be loyal and be close to him. And so I think as much as I feel like he's primed for that sort of relationship, I think it just mostly speaks to the character of Gregory. I think he sees Gregory as somebody who is so um solid and smart and stable and attractive and generous. And I think he obviously wants that in his life. Again, I think you could argue that like Jacob would befriend rock, but Gregory sort of is a rock in many ways. Yeah, I've been so pleased by that storyline and the ways in which we've developed it further this season. Personally as an actor, I relish these opportunities to play with Tyler. He's such a incredible actor, and he's a really sort of like grounding force on our show. And they've given us some sort of longer two-person scenes that I feel like are not very common in the sitcom format, or at least in our show. And so when you get to really kind of click in and just ping pong off of one person, I feel like you can do something that the larger kind of chaotic 7-person scenes can't do. And I just particularly love that with Tyler because I admire him so much and he's such a generous actor and person. So I'm all for it. I feel like the sky is the limit on this bromance.
Yeah, well, kind of the sadder part of the season too is that like, well, Janine is off doing great things at the district. I mean, Jacob is her bestie. They were, they're co-teachers. They spent a lot of time together at the school. So how would you say he's faring without having her there right now?
I think he's coping well. Um, Yeah, again, I think this is all in service of sort of like activating these characters. I when I found out about that, I was just like, I think that's great writing. I think you take the person who loves the school the most and take the school away from them. You take the character that Jacob loves the most and take that away from them. And there's a lot that we get out of that. And again, as an actor, that's just fun to play. So I think he's doing the best he can. I think, you know, another element of our show that like I think will hopefully add something to the world of Abbott is taking people outside of it and creating new locations. And so, we've established the bar this year that Jacob and Janine get to hang out at. And I feel like that is sort of killing two birds with one stone in the sense that we get to continue and maintain that relationship and explore and deepen it, but we also get to show you what the teachers are like outside of school. And I remember how odd and thrilling that was, like when I was a kid, when you would see a teacher of yours, in a different place. And I think also just like a bar is brilliant in the sense that like um, it's a such a wildly different set of circumstances, and it gets characters to do things maybe that they wouldn't normally do. And so yeah, I'm really excited about seeing them there together. But yeah, I think the best thing that's come out of it is it's given both of them something to fight for. Like Jacob is obviously not happy that Janine is not at the school anymore. And hopefully vice versa.
Well, Jacob has this love for Janine, he has this love for Gregory, and he's kind of seen that relationship between them playing out over the years. I'm curious, do you think Jacob is rooting for Janine and Gregory to be together?
This is so hard to answer because I really think that like he just has such a deep affection for both of them as people that I think he really wants whatever they would want. And we saw this kind of in season 2. He can sort of turn on a dime and cheerlead whatever they seem to be after. And obviously he loves them both so much it would be just really convenient and pleasant for them to be together, but I don't think he would in any way sort of meddle or advocate for one thing more than the other. He just loves them both too much, and so um, I think right now he's just sort of like a steady lieutenant waiting for orders. But yeah, we'll see.
In terms of Jacob's storyline and, maybe his career as a teacher, is there anything on those lines that you would like to see further explored that the show hasn't had a chance to do yet?
It's been so fun this year, as I said, to kind of like take what is close to Jacob and rip it away from him and see what happens to him. Um, I think there's also sort of like a longer arc of what happens to Jacob when he starts to feel more confident in this place. I think there's something really exciting about that. Um, I'm not sure. I've honestly, like, we make our show so quickly that um, I'm in this weird position of like sort of learning about him in real time with you, with our audience. One of the beautiful things about like shooting the show while it's airing is um, we're sort of in conversation with the world and what's happening in the world, and also the people who watch our show. And so, yeah, I've just been so thrilled and pleased by what they've come up with already, that I feel like anything I would pitch is usually not as good as what they've already thought up. There is like a whole team of writers who are basically experts on this character, in addition to yourself, and so it's pretty cool. I feel like I'm in good hands, but I'll get back to you on that if anything. I'm very happy.
This is kind of along the same lines, but the Abbott field trip episodes are so much fun. I got to know if there is a place you would like to see them bring the kids that you think would be turn into a fun situation. Because I feel like there's always kind of a disaster that that happens on these field trips.
We love disaster. Disaster works for us. This is a disastrous group of people. I maintain that like the genius of one of the brilliant things about Quinta's idea is taking five very different people and adding a sixth and adding a seventh, and no matter where you put those people, something chaotic is going to happen just because of the way that she drew their personalities. So yeah, I think we could go anywhere. I think we could go to a McDonald's and something outrageous would happen. But I don't know. I feel like in terms of like the greatest hits of field trip locations, we're slowly like checking them each off. Um, I feel like the ways in which we've been able to pay homage to Philly, um, I know are very exciting to me and just I think meaningful to Quinta. And so I hope that we sort of stay on that trajectory and go to places that are quintessentially Philly and not just like um, you know the planetarium. But I don't know. I don't know. Again, I really think that we could go to the mall and it would be hell on wheels.
I would love to see you guys go to the mall. I think that would
Sure.
be a great episode.
Done.
Well, lastly, is there anything else that you can tease about the rest of the season? Anything that you're looking forward to in particular?
There's a lot that I'm looking forward to. Is there anything I can tell you? Probably not. Um, I think I can say this, which is, um, it's been so fun, kind of. Uh, these people feel like my family now, and I've been able to play very closely with this ensemble, and we've been able to expand that slightly each time. And the guest stars that we have coming up, I just think are so fabulous um, and really in the world of what we're doing. Um, And so I'm very excited for you to see that. And furthermore, I think, because we have a slightly shortened season this year, uh, I really feel like we have kind of concentrated what we would have done in a normal season. And so um, it just feels funnier and deeper, and less, even more unpredictable in a way that I feel like people are not going to see where the end is going, or who's going to be on the show, or the laughs per minute. I feel like are going to take people by surprise. So I'm just so excited. I really enjoy doing a 22 episode season, but it's hard. As I said, we make the show very quickly, and so it kind of forces you to be in a bubble for a bit. And there's something just about this little bit of wiggle room of doing how many we're doing this season that I feel like just allowed us to um, luxuriate and, as I said, concentrate what we're doing. And I really do feel like every episode that's to come this season is a great episode of TV and just a hard hitting one. So watch out.